Howdy all, gamers and gentlemen. Today we are going to be looking at a tier list that I've made of all of the weapons in Mordhau, because I did look for an existing tier list, however the only ones that existed did not have the peasant weapons, so I've compiled a list of all of the weapons in Mordhau, including peasant weapons, ranged weapons, shields, so that I can put it on this tier list. Now you might be thinking, right, that's cool, that's great, but what's up with the tier list? It says true gamer. I'm gonna get to this, right? This isn't your average shebang, you know, put the things that are the best weapons on top, put the things that will, well, it is. That's exactly what it is. However, it's a different kind of best. You see, this tier list is a list tiered for the amount people will like you for using certain weapons. So consequently, we have what would be S tier is True Gamer. Now, if you're watching my channel, you are already at this tier. And so this list will be for weapons that you should only use. This tier is for weapons that only you should use. Because my true gaming energy radiates off me and goes to all you viewers, and it makes you epic gamers. And so these weapons are for you. Now, as I lead others to a treasure that I cannot possess, I'm not actually on this tier, because I don't have any friends, and the closest I get to female contact is someone telling me my arse looks nice. Moving on. The next tier down from that is Chad. Now you'll know who Chad is. Chad is the big, strong, you know, jock. He's too cool for school, he gets all the girls. You want to be a Chad. Everyone wants to be a Chad, right? Unless you're an incel, and, you know, who cares about them? Now the tier down is Poindexter. You're not the lowest of the low if you use these weapons, but you're also not the best. You're somewhere in the middle. You might have one or two friends, but they're probably just as dorky as you are. Moving down from that, we have Zero Friends. Zero friends if you use these weapons. You don't talk to anyone, and if you do, they just sort of look at you and they go, haha, who's this guy? You're not going to get any attention if you use these weapons, especially by people online. Whether that's the attention you want or not, that's up to you. And the final tier, what would be the F tier, or what I'd call the Z tier, is Bullied in School. If you use these weapons, you don't have zero friends. You have negative friends. You have a friend deficit. That's not a good thing. That's not a place that you want to be. By using the weapons that are placed in this tier, you not only have however many people don't like you at school, but you in fact have an additional minus 64 friends. Minus 63 from every single person in the game lobby you're playing in, and minus 1 from me, because I don't like you for using these weapons. So first off, we have all of the shields in the game. Now, most people don't like using shields, but I see them occasionally. People will use shields if maybe they were beaten as a kid, if, you know, no one really likes them and they want to sort of hide behind the shield to block their insults, or maybe you're just straight up stupid and you don't know when to press right click at the right time, so you want something you can hold at all times and look like a massive pansy doing. So, right off the bat, I'm going to give every shield in the game a straight up bullied in school, because you don't need a shield unless you get bullied in school. Next we have all of the bows in the game, and for a similar reason of hiding away from everyone that fights, and, you know, not applying much to the game. However, in my opinion, bows are a little more fun. If you play against someone with a bow, there's a bit of fun to it, of dashing side to side, doing an S maneuver, and sometimes it's just really, really funny to see a naked man running before taking a crossbow bolt straight to the eyelids and flying 5 meters back into the air. And when you see something like that, you can't help but go, sometimes I am happy that there are archers in this game. The half of the server that don't like you cancel out with the half of the server that do like you, so you have zero friends if you use any of the bows in the game. I reckon that's fair. For all the negatives that bows have, I think that's pretty fair. Now the arming sword, from what I can tell, I've never seen anyone slash with it. They just sort of use it like a rapier and just poke at everything. Though it's really short ranged, so it's sort of not as bad as the rapier. It is one of those weapons you can throw, so it's nice to pick up and just yeet it at someone every now and then. This is getting a Poindexter for me. Next up we have the axe. The axe is a very short-ranged weapon. It does alright damage. It's very short range, and it can be thrown. I do like thrown weapons. It's very funny to see someone get hit in the face with something and just die. I'm gonna give it a Chad. Next up we have the Bardiche. The Bardiche, I've never heard that word before in my life. It's probably a French word, which straight off the bat, it's not looking good for the Bardiche. I'm not gonna lie to you. We don't like the French. I looked up a picture of a Bardiche because I didn't even know that existed in the game. And then I realised that I do know that it exists in the game. It looks like someone sticked a shard of glass on the end of a massive stick, and it actually hurts when people hit you with it. It's one of those weapons in the class that have a really long range and a pointy end, so people just stay really far back and just poke you with it. And it does a hell of a lot of damage for that, even though it's meant to be for slashing. So the Bardiche is getting a bullied in school for me. Next up we have the Bastard Sword. Not one you see quite often. People don't use it that much because it's not very good, because it's just really short range. Short range weapons don't tend to be used that much in this game. So the Bastard Sword is going to get a Poindexter. Next up we have the Battle Axe. The Battle Axe is in the tier of those big weapons that people just swing around aimlessly and don't really need much skill to use. Battle Axe is going to go into the Zero Friends tier. That's what you get for using one of the massive weapons. Don't blame me, it's just the way the world works. People don't like you if you use them, because they're overpowered, and you end up clapping teammates in the head and killing them as well. Now for the billhook, again, I didn't particularly know what a billhook was until I had to look it up when I saw it on the list of weapons in Mordhau, and I realised, oh, that just looks like the Bardiche. People use it the exact same, and it's going exactly where the Bardiche is, because it's just long range weapon with pokey bits that you stay really far away and just spam up on the mouse pad with just to kill people. Now Blacksmith's Hammer. The Blacksmith's Hammer is a true gamer weapon. So the Blacksmith Hammer, very short range. The real way this weapon shines is when you find places you can build up. Your teammates, they're gonna love you for building things, because they're not gonna do it. They have Zweihanders and Executioner swords and nothing else. So using the Blacksmith's Hammer is great. The Carving Knife is... I mean, I've never personally used the Carving Knife, and I've never seen anyone get a kill with the Carving Knife, because it's one of those weapons that you need to have the Peasant skill equipped for, which takes up 8 points and gives you nothing in return, except for access to the best weapons in the game. Carving Knife, it has probably negative range. I'm sure you have more range when you use the fists than when you use this weapon. And it wouldn't surprise me if it had relatively the same amount of damage, apart from on pokes. Pokes probably do quite a bit of damage. So for that reason alone of it having very little range, I'm giving the Carving Knife a true gamer. Cleaver. Cleaver is a very funny weapon. Cleaver is straight away just going in the Chad tier, because it's one of those small throwable weapons that isn't very good on its own. But you'll occasionally chop off a guy's arm and you'll start laughing to yourself at how they managed to get killed by that, when you have to get within, like, kissing distance of them. The club. Now people mix up the club and the heavy branch a lot. They're very similar. The club and the heavy branch are going together on this list, and they don't do a whole lot of damage. They're like the Zweihander in that they're very long range weapons that you just swing around and hit people in the head with, except it does about a third of the damage that they do. I'm gonna get this one and the heavy branch out of the way and put them both in the Chad tier. The crossbow is separate from all the bows for the exact same reasons I stated for the bows. The crossbow is you're bullied at school if you use the crossbow. The dagger is exactly the same as the Carving Knife, except you don't need the Peasant skill to equip it. So for that reason you're getting a Chad for it. I'm gonna dodge the S-Stock and go for the Rapier first. So the Rapier is one of the most annoying weapons in the game to fight against. It has a faster wind-up time than other weapons, so people can stab you more consistently with it, and that's all they do. If you see someone slashing with the Rapier, they're either memeing, or they don't know what a Rapier is, because it only does damage when you poke. And poke, it can kill you in about 2 or 3 pokes, depending on where they hit you. And when someone starts poking you, they ain't gonna fucking stop. They are gonna spam that mouse wheel up until you are no longer breathing, or they are no longer breathing. And most of the time it will be you who is no longer breathing because of just the sheer speed of which he can poke you to death with. The Rapier is... It's a no from me, Chief. You're bullied in school if you use the Rapier. Similarly, the S-Stock, which is just a shittier version of the Rapier, is joining you there. You're going with Michael Jackson. Now the Evening Star is a weapon I don't see very often, surprisingly. I think it's one of those weapons that's It's the big weapon that, you know, you could stay from a distance and just smack people with. It's like a maul with longer range and less damage. It's a club with spikes on it. That's essentially what it is. I'm gonna give the Evening Star a Poindexter. It's not that bad. It's not quite Chad level, but it's not. You don't have 0 friends for it. You're just a normal person for using it. Now we have the Executioner's Sword, but I'm gonna slap it right there without discussion. Now the Executioner's Sword is the worst weapon in this game. When you see someone that has the Executioner's Sword, you know that their penis is about -1 inches long, and the only way they feel better is by running around, spamming left click and just doing horizontal swings until things are no longer alive. It doesn't matter if that's a teammate, it doesn't matter if it's an enemy, it doesn't matter if it's a dead body, they're gonna keep clicking until they see points appear. And then they're gonna click some more, because they don't want survivors, they don't want friends, they want kills. Falchion. I never see people use the Falchion. Poindexter, I guess. Firebomb, no. Firebombs, they are fun. It is funny to be a naked man and just sit by an ammo crate and just keep yeeting firebombs over mountains and just hit people with them. But being on the receiving ends of firebombs is not a fun experience. It's not good. It's not. You're not good for using them. You don't need any skill to use them. You just need to throw them and then you get free kills because it does like 20 damage per tick. 0 friends for using the firebomb. True Gamer. The fists get True Gamer instantly. If you see someone who is running around with no armor, with their fists out, that guy slams. That guy lays pipe. That person is a true gamer. If someone is brave enough to decide to make a character that doesn't have any armor, the peasant hat, and the fists, they're going places. Because they don't fear death. They look death in the eye, and they raise their fists and say, "Come at me." That is the definition of a true gamer there. For the same reason, Frying Pan is joining True Gamer up there. It's got no range, it's got surprisingly good damage, but the pan is surprisingly good. You get the satisfying pang when you hit someone in the back of the head, and it's about as demoralizing for someone if you kill them with the Frying Pan than if you do with the fists. All in all, a very fun weapon to use. You're a very cool person for using it. Well done. That's the Great Sword. It's the Great Sword. It's one of the weapons that you just swing around and you get kills with it. Here we have the Halberd. You swing it and people die. You poke and people die. Range is about 7 kilometers. If you just click any button that's on your mouse, even if you press right mouse button and block, you'll probably kill someone. Someone will probably die. The Halberd, you just need to like blink and everyone in front of you is no longer alive. It's stupid. I don't like it. I don't like the Halberd. It's annoying. It's stupid to go against. You feel like there's nothing you can really do. Get out of my game. I was mad. Go and Chad. It's a peasant weapon, so just by nature of it being a peasant weapon, it gets high up there. Because you've got to waste 8 points on having nothing but no armor and terrible weapons. So good on you. That's a sausage dog. I assume that's the longsword. It's the longsword. It's the same as the bastard sword. It should be your Poindexter. Loot. The loot gets a true gamer. The loot is, in fact, I'd call it better than the fists, actually. I'm just going to order this real quick. Put the loot at the very front there. Because the loot, as well as with the Brawler perk that increases fists damage, I think the loot does less damage than the fists do. And so, therefore, you're an even bigger Chad for using them. And also you get the added benefit of being able to play music for your sweet teammates. And I think everyone would prefer to see the sight of a man running into battle with a guitar, a small little lute, and begin clapping someone over the head with it after playing Through the Fire and the Flames, than someone running in with their fists, than anything. I'd like to see an entire team of 64 people all playing the same song as they rush against another team of 64 all playing the same song on the lute, and clash and start smacking each other over the head like it's the end of a concert. True gamer level you there. If there was a tier above true gamer, that's where loot would go, but that's all you got. The mace, fairly average. It's the mace, I don't know what to say about it. It's just a small weapon to club people over the head, they die. Maul, I like the Maul. I'm gonna put the Maul and consequently the Mace up in Chad tier. And I'll tell you why. The Maul is one of the highest damage weapons in the game. If you hit someone in the head, no matter what amount of armor they have, if you hit someone in the head properly with it, they are going to die. Their head is going to explode into but a fine mist. And it's very satisfying to use. However, because of its incredibly short range and really long wind-up time, you have to be quite skilled to use the weapon effectively. You need to get in close, and you need to get in an attack before an enemy, or duke them with it, which is very hard. I'm pretty sure if you feinted with the Maul perfectly, you frame perfect feint and then start an attack straight away, I'm fairly certain they'd still be able to block the attack. It's that long of a wind-up. But it's so satisfying just to hear the crunch as you demolish someone's entire skull with the Maul. Chad tier for sure. The Messer, bottom of Poindexter. Pickaxe, Chad tier. The pickaxe is a peasant weapon, already gaining at many points in its favour. You're just a miner who heard the call for war, he just grabbed what he had next to him and ran into battle. And it does a surprising amount of damage. I'd call it the poor man's Maul, in that it's got pretty short range, but when you hit people, you hit people. Despite it being a peasant weapon, you can probably one-shot naked people, and then like 2 or 3 shot armored people. But it's a very funny weapon to use. The pitchfork. The pitchfork goes at the top of Chad tier. For one reason and one reason only, it is the worst, and I mean the worst, peasant weapon. Actually no, for that it goes up to true gamer tier. The pitchfork is a wet noodle. It's an absolutely atrocious weapon, and for that reason it's in true gamer tier. Poleaxe, it's long pokey weapon, that's where it goes. Quarterstaff, I'm gonna give quarterstaff a Chad tier. You never see anyone use a quarterstaff, because I'm pretty sure it does -3 damage. It's one of those long pokey weapons, except it does no damage. There is actually a rake in this game, and I think it's just a better version of the pitchfork. Chad tier. We're getting into all the peasant weapons now. Rusty Fork, it cannot be the same level as Pitchfork, because the Pitchfork is just the worst version of the Rusty Pitchfork. It's going to go top of Chad tier. I'm actually going to move Mace and Maul down to Poindexter, because there's just too many things in the Chad tier here. The severe damage of the Maul and the Mace can't be matched against a fucking Pitchfork that does about probably like 4 damage per poke. It's not very good. Rusty Shovel, I'm putting it with the Rusty Fork up here. It's a stupid weapon. It's a stupid meme weapon, peasant weapon, -8 points for nothing. You're not going to do a whole lot of damage with it, but it's satisfying to hit someone over the head with a spade. Scythe is going in true gamer tier. You can't poke with it, you'll do maybe 10 damage, but when you slash, you can do a lot of damage. I'm not sure if it's dependent on if you hit them with the head of the weapon or not, but I have gotten like 2 hit kills with it. It can be rewarding if you're good. It's pretty good. I love the Scythe. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a bit biased with the Scythe. It's a pretty funny weapon to use. True gamer. Spear. If there was a tier below Bullied in school that is, I don't know what tier would be below that, but it's just -7 billion friends. No one on earth likes you for using this weapon. It is the definition of the long pointy weapon that you just hide at the back and stab with. If someone has the spear, you're dead. Unless you know what you're doing. It doesn't even matter if you know what you're doing, because they just spam up on the mouse pad and it works. Because if you chamber their attack, they're instantly going to be spamming up anyway, so they're just going to chamber your attack. And if you try and go for a slash, their stab is faster. If you try and go for a stab after their stab is still probably faster. If you don't even see someone with a spear, there is someone with a spear, they're probably behind you and you're about to get stabbed. If you exist, you're going to get stabbed. It's impossible to go an entire game without being killed by the spear at least 57 times. If you use this weapon, fuck you, get off my channel. That's it. That's all I have to say. Short sword, is just like the longsword, just top of Poindexter, because it's a bit better than the longsword because it's shorter and it's stupider, and I'm pretty sure you can throw it. Sickle, it's a peasant weapon. I'm gonna put it up here with the blacksmith's hammer, because if you bring a hammer and sickle together, the combo of the hammer and the sickle is true gamer. You're a true gamer if you make a hammer and a sickle, just because of the amount of points you have to waste on just a meme. Because you have to have the peasant skill, you have to have the sickle, which is 4 points, and the blacksmith's hammer, which is 2 or 3 points. That's a lot of points that you've wasted there. That's pretty much all your points. You have 2 points left. What are you gonna do with that? Get flesh wound? Don't make me laugh. Flesh wound is true gamer tier, by the way. If you use flesh wound, the perk, well done, you win. Sledgehammer, it's the peasant's maul. It does quite a bit of damage. It's like a blacksmith's hammer, but longer. So it's going in the Chad tier. Short spear is more acceptable than the regular spear. The short spear is less damaging than the regular spear. It hasn't got as much reach as the regular spear, and you can throw it. And I've seen a naked person running out of spawn. He's pressed V and gone, "Have at them, boys!" And then someone in front of him has just thrown a spear. It's gone right between his eyes, and he's backflipped from the sheer force of the spear entering his cranium. And it made me laugh for approximately 17 minutes. It is very funny to see people get hit in the head by things. I'm very sorry. That I might be biased against the short spear just because of that one experience, but it's for sure higher than the spear. I wouldn't put them on the same tier. Rock, true gamer. That's all there is to say. The Rock is a true gamer. Where we're at, it's just to balance things out a bit. I'm going to put the arming sword and the bastard sword down into 0 friends. I apologise if you thought that you were good for that. Actually, no. Long sword down there. And Messer as well. Just to even things out a bit, make things look a bit more even. Throwing axe. Now you might say, oh, you seem to like throwing weapons. Fuck you. No, fuck you. Nah. Okay. Annoying people do use the throwing axes. It's annoying when you see someone run up and they whip out the little axe and you're like, oh cool, they're using the axe, that's nice. And then they just throw an axe at you and you go, oh okay, cool. And then they throw another one at you. And then they throw 2 more at you. Because by equipping the 2 throwing axes, which is one of the default classes, you just have 4 axes that you can throw at people. And they do a lot of damage. It's ridiculous how much damage they do. You're gonna die. If they can actually aim, which they can't because they're idiots. They're Poindexters. They don't know how to aim those things. They're annoying. I didn't even know throwing knives were in the game until yesterday. But apparently there's throwing knives in the game. I'm as surprised as you are. Because I've never been killed by them. I've never seen someone hit someone with them. I've even passed over them in the menus apparently, but they exist somewhere. Shoot me. I don't know. Training sword, you're a true gamer for using it, because I've never seen anyone use it, but I assume it does about 3 damage because it's a wooden sword. Good on you for using it, you're a true gamer. War axe, it's like the battle axe, but it's got 2 heads. Spam left click to kill things. Warhammer, I've never seen anyone use the warhammer. I again didn't really realise the warhammer was a weapon in this game, so I'm just going to put it in Poindexter because it's not a weapon you can stab with. If it's a weapon that you can't stab with, like a blunt weapon, you're already quite high on the list of good weapons, because people that spam stab with any weapon deserve to be shot. Now you might be arguing that the Executioner's Sword is one of those weapons because it's got a blunt tip, but the range of the Executioner's Sword is so incredibly ridiculous that it doesn't even need a stab, because its horizontal swing range is about the same range as a stab, and it will kill you instantly nonetheless. Now the wooden mallet, it's the blacksmith hammer but better. Like the blacksmith hammer, you can build things up, and you're an epic gamer for using it. Wooden shovel, it's like the rusty shovel, but you're a bigger gamer for using it. Just like with the pitchfork, it's just a shittier version of the rusty fork and the rusty shovel. Finally, Zweihander. Zweihander can go right there with the halberd. The Zweihander, like the halberd, kills anything it touches. Everyone in the game uses it. You just need to spam stab and you get kills. You just need to spam left click and you get kills. You're gonna kill teammates. They're not gonna like you. Your enemies aren't gonna like you because you're gonna kill them in one hit no matter what. If you use the Zweihander, you gorge on cock every single waking moment of your life. That concludes my Mordhau tier list. Cheerio. Pip pip.